This is The Credibility Gap, the podcast about the hole our leaders have fallen into by not standing up for us and our rights, and how we can help them climb out. If you're new, welcome. I'm really glad you're here. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm glad you're here too. I'm your host, Brita Firm. Remember to write or call our elected leaders. There's info for that in the info box of this podcast, how to contact them, and I'll try to remember to put the sample letter in there. Also, please subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you'll get notice of every episode. Today's podcast is on values and lies. But first, as always, the road to autocracy. Before we even start that, I want you to know this has been a difficult podcast to do, especially the road to autocracy part, because things have been changing so quickly. I hardly know what to include here. I've tried to pick out some of the headlines from the last 2 or 3 days that I think give us the best insight into this road to totalitarianism. So, number 1. The National Guard, which has taken over Washington, D.C., has started carrying firearms, pistols, and rifles under strict rules for use of force. I don't know what those rules are. Number 2, Trump has militarized Washington, D.C.'s Union Station. He has usurped power over it from Amtrak. Amtrak is already a federal agency, and Union Station is already on federal property, but for some reason, the president decided he needed to militarize that particular place. I'm wondering if other stations and perhaps airports and even airlines are coming in the near future, so pay attention to that. Number 3. Trump has said that other Democratic-led cities will see troops moving in next, probably Chicago and Baltimore. He's not concerned about the red cities. I'll try to remember to put a list of the states with the highest crime rates. All but 2 of them are red states. Blue states have notoriously low crime rates. Not all the time. There are spikes, as in everything, but people in blue states, liberals in general, often look at helping people have satisfying lives and jobs where they make enough money to support their families. That's the best way to fight crime. Fight poverty. Number 4, a woman who admitted on a viral video to yelling racist slurs at a boy with autism at a Rochester, Minnesota park, and then raised over $800,000. She says she needs this money to protect her family on a crowdfunding website. She will face disorderly conduct charges, the city attorney said on Tuesday. Thank goodness she'll face some charges. I can imagine she feels threatened. If you're going to yell the N-word at a little boy with autism, you're going to have people stand up to you and say, no, don't do that. And people in the park actually did that. Good for them. Number 5, in an interview on Tuesday, August 26, 2025, Assistant White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said the Democrat, and he says Democrat instead of Democratic, Party is no longer a political party, but is a domestic extremist party. Members of the Democrat Party are domestic terrorists. We support crime and dangerous criminals, he says. Pay attention to this one. This is othering people and starting to dehumanize them. So this is the next group that they're going after people of color, people of alternate sexual orientations, and women, now Democrats. Number 6, observant medical personnel are noting that Trump's symptoms are saying he probably has congestive heart failure and kidney disease, or both. His swollen ankles are a definite symptom of congestive heart failure. The bruising on his hands, which he tries to cover up not very well, usually means there's been an IV there, and he's getting IV diuretics to keep the fluid out of his heart and lungs. Those medications are very toxic to kidneys and can cause kidney disease and even kidney failure. So everybody from normal podcasters to Alex Jones has commented on this, and people are tossing around numbers like 6 to 12 months, perhaps, for the president to live. All right, let's get into values. My definition of values: where I spend my time, my energy, and my money. Now, these also might be called my motivations. Again, where I spend my time, my energy, and my money. I may say my values are one thing, but when I look at my bank statement and my calendar, I can see where my money's going. I can see where my time and energy are going. And if they don't match what I say my values are, I'm probably in cognitive dissonance. I love the concept of cognitive dissonance. You know, I bring it up almost every episode. There's a list of values in the info box to this podcast. This list was compiled by Brene Brown, I believe, for her book, Atlas of the Heart. I'd like to do a brief exercise with that list. First of all, look down the list. You can pause the podcast for a minute and circle or check off 10 values that are the most important to you on that list. And it doesn't matter what they are, they're your values. I have no opinion on your values. Then pause the podcast again and go back and pick out 5 of those 10 values that are really the highest in importance to you. So cross out the other 5 and you're left with those 5 most important values. Now you can stop the podcast one last time and pick out the top 3 of those 5 values. This means you're going to have to let go of 2 of those top values. We need to get down to what are called core values. Usually, I guess, your top 3 of the values. So if I'm living my values, my behavior reflects that. My core values are integrity, truth, and education. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. But I wanted to look at the values that I notice in President Trump. And it seems to me that his top value is revenge. He talks about it all the time. His actions show that he is after revenge. If you have time and energy, look at The Science of Revenge. Even just read a synopsis of it. It's by James Kimmel Jr., JD. And it talks about what happens in the brain when we think about or do revengeful things. In his 2024 campaign, Donald Trump frequently promised retribution against his political opponents, particularly emphasizing this theme in speeches at rallies and conferences throughout 2023 and 2024. Notably, he declared, "I am your retribution," shortly after announcing his candidacy on November 15th, 2022. And he continued to highlight this message right up until the election on November 6th of 2024. Examples of Trump's revenge are his actions towards states, particularly blue states, because the people there didn't vote for him. So he wants to punish them. He's taking away funding from their governments, from their schools, from their people. He is also going after schools that he perceives as liberal and therefore his enemies. He's taking away their funding, their students. He's starting investigations into them and their finances. He's asking them to fire personnel that he believes were hired because of their diversity, not because of their qualifications. He's taking revenge on law firms that he thinks prosecuted or defended people who worked against him. He's taking revenge on FBI agents, particularly the ones that wouldn't fire on our own citizens. And he's taken revenge on appointees of Biden and Obama. He's taken away the Secret Service protection of a lot of these folks, particularly ones that worked in the security of our country. And he's taken away their security clearances and their security briefings. So he does not have them that he could consult if he wanted other opinions. He's also accused Obama of treason and has asked the Justice Department to investigate. Trump values money. He's using his office as president to profit from things like his meme coins, market manipulations, tariffs, having the U.S. buy stock in Intel, and now he says other companies without any authority. He has no authority to do this. He has made, I believe the figure is $3.4 billion personally since taking office again this year. And Trump values power. He denies Congress to conduct foreign diplomacy and foreign attacks. He did that attack on Iran without even informing Congress that he was going to do that. He defies the courts. He denies due process to people that are arrested or detained. He even denies health and safety precautions to people in detention centers. And the courts have told him he needs to upgrade those, especially for children. And you've heard him declare many times, I alone can fix this country. He loves having the power. And along with the power goes flattery. He values flattery. This is lies. He likes for foreign leaders, for staff, for cabinet members, even for members of the press, including the legacy press, to flatter him when they're talking to him. And they've all learned that this is the best way to manipulate him. So they do their flattery first. And, I mean, it's obsequious. It's really hard to watch and listen to. But I encourage you to do that because I think we need to know what's happening. Now, I'm not going to let congressional Democrats off the hook here. They value their jobs. Republicans do too, but I expect that from them when they're in power. The Democrats, they would rather get reelected than stand up for ourselves. And we've seen this over and over and over. They need to stop this. If they lose their jobs, so be it. They'll get another one. They need to stop what's happening to our country. And they value fundraising. They do a lot of it. They spend a lot of their time, some as much as half of their time, in buildings not owned by the federal government, making fundraising calls. Because this is how they raise their money, going to fundraising events as well. The one PAC that donates to a lot of these folks is AIPAC, AIPAC. This is the fundraising arm of Israel, and they make donations to all the senators and representatives. The lists of the donations they've made to Republicans in this past not Republicans, Democrats in this last campaign is in the info box. Some of these donations are minor, $10,000, a few $1,000s. Some of them go into the tens and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. They are buying our representatives' allegiance to Israel. The last one on the list is Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, and she has taken almost $500,000 from these folks. That's a lot of money. No wonder they won't stand up for the people of Gaza. They won't stand up to Israel and even defend the people in our country who are trying to defend the people of Gaza. This is a real conflict of interest, and it must be addressed. So when you're writing your letters, be sure to let these folks know that you want them to quit taking contributions from AIPAC, and that if they can give back what they've already taken, they haven't spent it yet, give it back. I bet people would send in small contributions to make up for that money in a heartbeat if they knew that their representatives and senators were giving back money that binds them to a foreign government. Now let's talk for a minute about lies. We've already mentioned lies in the idea of flattering. Trump lies to his people all the time, and other Republicans in his government pick these up. They lie to MAGA about immigrants, crime, tariffs, the economy, the power of the president, foreign perceptions of the U.S., wars he's ended, which, by the way, is zero. He really wants that Nobel Prize because Obama got one. The president lies about all the above, plus about how great he is, how popular he is, his poll numbers, his crowd sizes, his golf scores. He was caught cheating recently on video. His health, his involvement with Epstein and Maxwell. There's just not much he won't lie about. Every lie he tells is an explicit instruction for his followers to build on it, to lend it credibility through repetition, which is one of the dirty tricks that Republicans developed during the Nixon administration. You can watch the propaganda machine crank up as soon as Trump utters one of these lies. Within minutes, it's on Fox News. And within hours, it's on podcasts and talk shows. The Republican talking points are Trump's lies and wild fantasies, verbatim. So why do people lie? There's an extensive list linked in the info box from Psychology Today. It gives you information from various research studies, so it is research-backed and is pretty complete, in my opinion. If you read them, you'll probably see that the underlying motivation for telling lies is fear. Fear and lying are understandable when done by children, teens, and even some young adults. These folks are learning to trust their caretakers, to trust the world, and to trust themselves. Not lying takes courage, sometimes immense courage. To avoid slipping into lying, truth must be a core value. And as you can see by the Republican propaganda machine, truth has nothing to do with what they say. It has to be a core value. The constant search for truth must accompany that value so that we won't lie to ourselves. We must be open to new info and to cognitive dissonance. I mean, when I say something that I have a funny feeling is not the truth, that's that cognitive dissonance nudging at me, saying, hey, pay attention to this. I need to use my next core value of education to find out what's really going on. Is what I have said true or not? And if it's not, I need to retract it and say what is true. That's my value of integrity. Is there ever a good reason for lying? The only one I can think of is to protect an innocent person from the consequences of my actions. For instance, if I were to get arrested for putting out this podcast as a domestic terrorist, which I am not, and I was asked about other people who might have helped me with this podcast, which there aren't any, but if there were, I might lie to protect them and say no, at least long enough that they can find out what's going on and protect themselves. I know I said last time that we would include databases in this episode, but the more I've researched, the more I see that the topic needs its own episode. So please join me next time for the most current information I can find on databases and their effects on our current and future lives. Thanks for listening. Remember to like this episode, to subscribe, and hit that notifications button so you'll get notice of every single episode. Also, please write a review if you can. That really helps us rise up in the rankings so more people will know about us. And tell a friend. That's really the best way to get the word out that this podcast exists. Also, remember to write or call your leaders. Remind them about AIPAC funds, AIPAC. See the info for how to do that. This podcast is produced and not edited at all by me. The opinions in it are mine, unless quoted or backed by research. Please join me for our next episode, again on databases. And thanks again for listening.